Hello world, it is Fancy Ellie here tonight on Transcending Origins. This week's topic is suicidal thoughts and your experience with them or your thoughts on them. My experience with them has not really been specifically transgendered related, but I have had them. Would take back about 4 years ago. I was living with currently my best friend, but at the time we were dating, and her and me, we were going through some relationship troubles, and I was having a lot of attention issues at the time. I really didn't know what specifically was the cause, and I thought that maybe depression might be the cause of it, or it might be ADHD. So I got on a couple different medications, which I didn't really actually know at the time, and I guess neither did the physician's assistant who was prescribing it to me, that they were actually technically conflicting medications. They're not like outright conflicting medications, but they do increase the likeliness of suicidal thoughts quite a bit. This was after researching it, like after being on it for quite a while. But during that time period, it was about like over a 6-month period, I started getting really, really, really out of it. I felt really distant from myself all the time. And I don't know, reality became less like reality. And consequently, during that time period, I had broken up with my girlfriend, now my best friend, as I said. I had really just kind of pushed away from a lot of the things that I viewed as important in my life. And I mean, I guess to some degree it was like this depression was also circumstantial, but I found it getting worse, like every single day, and I found myself kind of thinking more that direction, and it started to really scare me, but I didn't really stop myself from thinking that, and eventually got to the point where I was just like seriously about ready to do it. I hadn't actually like made an attempt, but I was planning it. And at that time period, the physician's assistant who was prescribing me the medications sent me off to like this like acute psychiatric facility, just kind of for an evaluation. And the doctor there said, yeah, we're going to get you off those medications. They're really not supposed to be prescribed in the way that they were being prescribed. And I kind of had an intervention with my family, and it became quite a big ordeal. And during that time period, my best friend Helen, she came and we kind of reconciled. And I don't know, a lot of the motivation there wasn't really transgender related, though it was kind of I felt depressed because of it, but it wasn't the cause of my suicidal thoughts. And poof, I'm in the other room. Anyways, back to what I was saying. Me and my roommate, my best friend, we reconciled. And then I really started to, after that kind of intervention, I started confronting a lot of the things that was really I was really scared about, and things just started looking up for me, and I started becoming my usual self, because I'm usually a pretty happy, cheery person, and I'm actually probably one of the most stable people I actually know. I rarely ever feel any bit of sadness. I usually always feel fairly happy. The only times that I feel sad is when it's really in accordance. Like when my ferret died, I had to put down my ferret like last week, and it was really emotional. So I mean, I still have like a good emotional range, but I'm not depressed, you know. And I kind of realized that like at that point too, like with the intervention, I realized how many people I'm actually impacting, and I think about how badly suicide affects others. My best friend, her ex-boyfriend, he was very depressed, and he wound up killing himself. He hung himself in his truck, and had taken a photo of himself while doing this, while in the process of doing this, and sent it to her. And I mean, just very, 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 very traumatizing to her. And like the police, kind of their opinion on it was actually that It was probably an accident. He wasn't actually like intending to fully go through with it, and that's why he was actually probably willing to send the photo. But like he was probably like in the like attempting suicide, like attempting to hang himself. But by that point, he'd already cut off enough oxygen where his legs weren't working anymore, and he had just hung himself. And consequently, like everybody around was getting impacted by this. I mean, like it was getting people depressed left and right. The guy already had a lot of depression in his family, and it wound up hurting his family even more. And I don't know. It's just suicide is an answer to a problem, but it's a very poor answer. It winds up hurting a lot of other people, and yes, it's an outlet, but it's a very poor outlet. There's so many better ways to confront these problems, and I realize that as transgender people that we have like a pretty damn high statistic of like suicide attempts and suicides, and I know it like sucks, living in the wrong gender, and there's a lot of annoyances with that, but you also have to be very cognizant of the positives that come along with any given situation, no matter how sucky, and like the life lessons that are present in each situation. And I guess that's for me how I've managed to kind of turn my life around and really be optimistic, is there's really positives in even the shittiest of situations. Because there's always something to be learned from it, or something to kind of like strengthen you for the future. And like I had a friend that just went through a really bad breakup, and like he really couldn't really see much past it. And I was like telling him like, you just learned everything you don't want in a woman. You should be happy about that. And it's like, yeah, this is a sucky situation, but now you're going to know how to deal with sucky situations like this in the future. And you're not going to be as scared to deal with them. It's not going to be as unfamiliar, and it's not going to be as traumatizing. It kind of like, it thickens your skin a little bit with each difficult situation. It's like, I went through like 4 years of college where I was doing absolutely shitty, but I kept pushing through it. And it was driving me up a wall how badly I was struggling day in, day out with my college. And I couldn't pay attention. I was trying. But what I learned from that was that, like, I really, no matter how hard you try it, like, at a situation that just isn't working, it's just not going to work, And I realized that, like, there's a time where you have to accept that maybe your initial preconceptions of things are not exactly how you expected them to go. And, I think that happens a lot with transitioning. You have ideas of how you'd like your transitioning to go, and it's not going to happen exactly how you expect it and exactly the way you want it, unless you have the funds to be able to have it happen like that. And even still, there's like this whole like matter of like coming out to people and working through these situations as they present themselves. So no matter how sucky the situation as a transgender person, there's a lot to be learned from it. There's a lot of positives from it. I mean, we get to deal with this. This is a benefit, this struggle. To actually be able to understand, like, the struggle of gender, Most people take it for granted. Most people take gender for granted and take, like, in such, like, a rigid concept of it. And we get this benefit of actually being able to have an alternative perspective. And so, I mean, like, that just being said, it's like, I know it sucks. I know there's a lot of problems, and when it comes to, like, depression and transgender stuff. But there are benefits to the crappy situation that you're in, and it's just, a lot of the time you can't see your way out of it. You can't imagine a different situation. And I guess, all in all, it's, there really is better ways of going about things, and there are a lot of other people who share in similar experiences to you. And that is another thing, too. It's like, if you're feeling really depressed, finding others to help you out and help you through it is going to be absolutely the best thing. Because that's honestly the only thing that pulled me through that tough situation, was lots of other people. Specifically the people who I was afraid to deal with, too. Anyways, I guess that's it for tonight. Good night, YouTube.